Hi there, traders. This is Brad Gilbert with the FX Market Insight for Wednesday, the 29th of April. All right, now as we come into the Fed meeting, there's always a bit of a move. Well, if the market's skewed one way, a day or two before the Fed, and then you get the pause as we lead into it. Now, I don't know what the Fed are going to do. They can only reiterate what they've actually been talking about, and that's what a lot of the news pages are sort of focusing on. Fed likely to renew vow to use all tools to brace economy. I don't think there's so much pressure on the Fed now that a lot of not a lot, but some of the US states are coming out of lockdown. And you know what, if nothing really changes in the next couple of weeks, I think the whole thing could change very quickly. So that'll take all the pressure off the Fed. So they've done their job. The dollar index, okay, just drifting lower, right? The whole positioning of the market's been weak dollar. Okay, this week we've been talking about it since Monday. The whole safe haven trade, the US dollar default safe haven, is diminishing as the bad news sort of falls away. So that's seen a lot of the currencies scream to the top side now. The dollar index lower, dollar one pretty steady. But what you'll see is we've seen a couple of really good cracking opportunities on a number of the pairs. Now, it's some of them have been particularly haphazard, and others have been reasonably good. So if I just give you a look here now, Kiwi price action through that resistance line was very tough, as was Euro. I got caught up in this Euro trade, got into the trade probably a day early, and you just don't know which day it's going to happen, but got caught up on the retracement, got stopped out. Next thing you know, it's miles higher. So that's one of those conundrums. But I did manage to get along Aussie, even though I did sort of take some cash out of it in the 60s, stayed long on a dip down here towards 35 and got some more cash out of that. Then you're looking at the main opportunity that I could see. Now, these ones, particularly the Kiwi, and I was already flushed out of the Euro, the sterling became the real focus, right? And it was around this 124.40. It was a long-term resistance line on the dailies. Now, this shot up pretty much almost 80 points through the level. Now, if you're not managing your trades, okay, whether it's through a trade tool or yourself, I know I've spoken to a few traders who were 65, 70 points in their cash and got stopped out at break even as it comes lower. Now, going into the Fed, you're not going to see a new trend ahead of the Fed. And these geopolitical events, markets, the currencies are going to shoot, but they often do retrace. So make sure you are managing your positions accordingly. Pretty loose, or not loose, but tricky price action there on dollar CAD up and down through the trend line. And dollar yen is enjoying itself, just cruising to the downside. No sort of major level to get short on a rally there, unfortunately. So this is what we're left with. Now, if we come over here to the sort of general news, okay, there isn't much. And this is good. We're getting back into really normal markets, okay, where there's less geopolitical talk. We're talking about the Fed, okay, but there's going to be a lot of speculation. I can't really be sure what's going to happen either way, what the Fed says, whether they're going to, do whatever they can, as this article down here says, renew their vow to use all tools, et cetera, et cetera. Like, what does that mean? It means something when they first say it, that diminishes as they continue to repeat that. So I don't know what the market's going to really think about what's going on. One thing that you want to be doing after the announcement from the Fed is, where are we? On the dollar page here, keep a very close eye on the equity markets, right? This is where you're going to see the impact of what the Fed's talking about. Now, obviously, not going to be talking about higher rates. They're talking about throwing the kitchen sink at this situation, which is, to me, improving. So they don't need to be that aggressive. But see, if you see a massive move in the equity markets, which I don't think we'll see either, then you may see some dollar direction come out of that. All right, now just coming back to the daily trade routine. Now, just having a look at yesterday's trades. I had a few traders asking me if I could just explain a few things about what was going on. Now, the Aussie, as I showed you on the chart, the momentum was up, the trend was up. We had a key resistance level which broke through that the previous day around 64.20. So if you weren't already long, you missed the trade, right? That was probably from the day before. Now, it pays dividends to be, that's then, Now, as we go into the Fed, the situation changes because this is the key event for the whole market, and the currencies could turn around. Now, obviously, the best, well, what we considered the best setup of the day was sterling on the daily charts. Okay, the currency had been trading sideways, momentum was up, a break situation was well on the cards, and that's exactly what we saw through 124.40. So, hopefully, a few of you got a bit of a taste of that. Unfortunately, dollar yen didn't really get back to anywhere close to that resistance level to get short. The rest of the pairs, well, you know what? They were trading sideways. So what a difference a day makes. That's yesterday's trading. Now, if we come back into today, right, we've got a few more pairs in line here. Now, as we go into the Fed, the situation changes where a lot of the pairs here, we do have some active pairs with clear overall direction. That is, that's good for us, gives us something to work with, but you can't, I wouldn't be going into the Fed, long Aussie, long sterling or even short dollar CAD. I'll be waiting for the event. Now these currencies are going up. So Aussie for me, I'm looking for a buy dip as I am with sterling, and dollar CAD sell rallies. I think oil has sort of gone to sleep at the moment, but that's still got a nice sort of downtrend if you're looking for that. Now, to me, the best setup at the moment, the currency that's got a real be under its bonnet is the Aussie. Looks nicely set to continue to push higher. So, you know what? If we do get some sort of weird price action out of the Fed meeting, out of the announcement, well, this thing's going up. The momentum is up. So it makes sense to me. If we see a short-term spike lower, then we could see a good chance to get long back down towards 164.87. Makes sense, but you've got to wait for the Fed first. Okay, we've got to wait and see what they say. And even you don't just buy it if it dips. You want to have some understanding of what is happening in the market. Now, Euro and dollar Swiss with the ECB Thursday. No surprise that these two pairs are trading sideways. Kiwi, okay, it's lagging the Aussie, right? And these two pairs correlate about 98% of the time. If it's got a fair bit of work to do, it's got another 100 points to go. And to me, that could be a pretty good buy situation. But you know what? It's got to move 115. It's going to take a hell of an announcement to get it moving. And dollar yen still a sell on rallies. On the long-term charts, dollar yen, I know the short-term hourlies are moving lower and lower, but they're on the big picture, it's just trading sideways in a bigger range. So that's what I can see there. Now, as I said, there's a few things coming out. I wouldn't be too worried about the GDP. That's going to be probably a shocker. It's a lot of that. It's already priced into the loose moves we've seen, but keep an eye on the Fed. Right, they've got the press conference afterwards. The market isn't sure what they're going to say because they've already emptied the tank as far as saying they're going to do whatever it takes, et cetera, et cetera. Interest rates are, zero-ish. So it's going to be interesting to see how the market reacts. Now, they may come out with some sort of plan saying, well, you know what, if things continue to improve, we may have to unwind some of this stuff straight away. That's going to be big news. It's probably too early yet because we haven't seen the numbers of the virus thing sort of drop, but that's probably next meeting we'll be talking about that quite a lot. And that's pretty much it. As I said, we've got the ECB Thursday. That's going to really give dollar Swiss and the euro a shot in the arm. And that's probably they're the key events to be focusing on just at the moment. All right. So anyway, my active pairs at the moment are Aussie, dollar CAD, sterling, and oil. So check those out. And just keep up the speed with the market. Like the opportunities that were coming through even yesterday, all this is, and people were saying, well, where do you get these things from? You spend 5 or 10 minutes looking at the market, you'll be able to identify some pairs that have an overall trend, and you'll see generally it should stand out like a sore thumb what the best setup is. And fortunately, we don't have them every day, but fortunately yesterday, sterling presented with us with a good one, and it came home. All right, guys, that's it from me. Have a good trade day. Cheerio.